Turning in circles, been caught in the stasis. The agent's arrival got to the end. If you were just watching the following season 2, episode 8, The Messenger, I am the messenger. Anyway, you just heard the Deftones' Tempest, which is a pretty badass song on an album called Koi no Yokan. I've seen the Deftones a couple times. They're pretty badass live. Anywho, the episode begins with Mike, and I'm still feeling some type of way about Mike, because Mike, I feel so sorry for him after his father died. And then you see his mother, and she gets like a folded flag. I guess his father was like, must have been in the military or a police officer, FBI agent or something. Anywho, back to the crazy cult known as the Corbins. Corbin is family. Corbin is love. Whatever. Mandy found a sweet-eyed bean named Eric. He's a little cutie. Like, go Mandy. Get him, Mandy. Anywho, Emma's still pissed about her wrist being cut. She says this whole place is nuts. She's ready to go. Joe is like, yes and no. We have the opportunity. We need this place. Ergo, Joe wants to take over, and I'm all for it. I can't wait. Micah welcomes Joe, Emma, and Mandy and says, we made them new and pure. Doesn't matter who you were beyond our walls. We are fam. You are family. We accept you. We are one. Crazy. Ryan is upset because guess who shows up? Miss Carrie, the lady who wrote the book who I was talking about from, I believe, my second following video. Well, she's the character I've been waiting for, and Carrie Cook appears, aka Miss Sprague Graydon. If you're not sure who she is, Paranormal Activity 2. Yeah, she's the mother that whose sister basically killed her. She was also in 6 Feet Under, I believe, as well. This woman has way too much info about what's going on, and she's fishing about Joe after speaking to the pilot from that plane that Joe, Emma, and Mandy didn't get on. We both know the truth doesn't matter to you, Ryan says to her. Ryan and this lady had some type of past, something going on. As I said, Eric likes Mandy. Joe, Mandy, and Emma can finally get rid of those weird Shakespearean masks on their face and that white, and now they're wearing red just like everybody else. Red is my favorite color, but after seeing it so much, I'm like, this is just too much red. The guards are watching. Joe questions the idea of Corbin and all it's crazy. Julia says, Mike is the leader, but I run things. I'm like, keep believing that, Julia. Keep believing that. Micah wants Joe's help with killing people. Charles S. Dutton from the show Rock appears. He plays the director, Tom Franklin. He's the reason why Ryan is not in jail right now. He really likes Ryan. He appears very sympathetic. He says that he takes Ryan aside and says no one knows where Lily is. But she has lawyers in all 17 countries, and none of them are talking. Mike thanks Max for coming, but Max just really doesn't want to, Mike really doesn't want to talk about, the death and everything that happens. Franklin basically says, Ryan knows that the Bureau is compromised. Franklin is running background on everyone. Ryan's going to work off the books, finally. And he's only going to communicate with Franklin and Franklin's office. That's it. And he gives Ryan a thumb drive with information about Joe Carroll smuggling his brother's body into the U.S. so that he could do the old switcheroo to make everybody think Joe's dead. Yeah, that one. Mike inquires and wants to know what Ryan is involved in, but Ryan won't budge about it. Ryan's not telling him. Mike comes out because they're outside, and Mike comes out and asks Ryan. Ryan's like, I'm not telling you. Ryan explains everything to Max, though. These 3 guys, Weicker, Douglas, and Dr. Arthur Strauss, all helped Joe with his little disappearing act after that fire at the lighthouse. Dr. Strauss lives an hour away from the lighthouse, and he patched up Joe. That's the consensus. This dude patched Joe up, and that's how Joe got together. Micah describes Corbin to Joe. He wants to cleanse their souls. It's a pre-life. We don't begin to reach home, and home is like 2 places away from Saturn. And I was like, oh God, not one of those again. He wants, you have to eat the sins of others and kill to save souls. I'm sure we're both just as confused as I am. When crazy starts saying that crazy is crazy, we've gone into insane territory. So therefore, Mr. Micah is insane. So here we go. Oh man, Micah's a character, right? This whole Micah thing, like, I thought I liked Lily, like, I thought Lily and her crazy was enough, but Micah stepped into crazy and hit the ground running. He lists like different killers, but he believes that Joe is royalty because Joe was never caught. He wants to be like Joe. He wants Joe to write him a book. Joe is like, listen, I'm not good at that. He says, I need you to find people with a desire to kill. This is what Joe tells Micah. Ryan visits Dr. Hunt, tries to act like he distanced himself from Joe. This is Dr. Strauss, actually, not even Dr. Hunt. He acts like he hasn't seen Joe since graduation. He lies about going to England, blah, blah, blah. Ryan attempts to, the whole thing with Ryan going there to Dr. Strauss's house is an attempt to scare him enough to contact Joe. Although he didn't realize Carrie Cook was going to show up asking questions, and Ryan put some type of bug there so he could hear, and basically he hears, like, Dr. Strauss dodging the questions, and then Miss Cook getting snatched in, and he hears her screaming, so he goes running in. Ryan runs in only to be sprayed in the face with some type of stuff, and he's knocked out. I said, another time, and poor Ryan, once again, as long as it's not his heart, I'm okay. Because last season, with the shocking of the heart and everything to the heart, I'm like, Ryan's little ticker can't take this. He cannot deal with this. Let me see. Not everyone who comes to Corbin gets a good bill of health, according to Micah. Apparently, he has all these killers underground, under this grate or whatever, and they're all dressed in red, and Micah takes his knife and cuts some guy on the wrist and says, you're cleansed. Max loses contact with Ryan, and Mike comes over, so she basically has to tell him what's going on. Ryan's tied to, like, a wheelchair, and he recalls waking up in Carrie's bed. Apparently, Carrie took him out, got him drunk, had sex with him, and got him even more drunk just to loosen him up so he'd open up and tell him exactly what was going on in the case. Thus is where she got her information for that book. Sneaky heifer. Sneaky. The doctor taught Joe and inspired him to kill, but he knew that Joe had that in his nature, so he didn't do that. He had it in his DNA. Either way, Doc, you're just as crazy as Joe, if not crazier. Micah has his ideas about saving souls. Joe gives his take on it, but apparently Micah is just too lost in his own insanity to even listen. He says that there are those who doubt him. So Joe figures that Micah's so egotistical, let me go push him and get him to, prey upon that. So he's like praying on his knees outside, and Julia's talking to the people who don't believe. And Julia noticed something's wrong, so Ryan tries to break out of his chair. Carrie Cook wakes up lying strapped to a table. They give her some type of anesthetic, and they're about to... This young guy that sprayed Ryan in the face is about to take a sledgehammer and break both of her ankles so he can cut off her feet. What happens is, as she goes to get the sledgehammer, he's over in the corner to get the sledgehammer. He is then shot and killed by Mike, and Max is with him. And I said, right on time, Mike, right on time. Micah is fascinated by Joe. Julia's suspicious. She's like, we have to be careful of the outside world. Joe is just like, I'm not trying to hear that, basically. I said, Joe's channeling his inner ratchety hood rat here, because Joe is ratchety, in my opinion. Not Joe. Micah is a mess. That's why I'm going to say Micah's ratchet. Micah's a mess. We have to be careful of the outside world, says Julia. We don't want to turn our backs on someone in need, says Micah. So in other words, Julia, you're dismissed. I'm following my new friend Joe. The doctor's about to operate on Carrie. And like I said, the crazy kid wanted to remove his feet, got shot and killed with Max. Ryan falls over his chair and he breaks free and he attacks the doctor. The doctor's then strapped to the table. Max makes Carrie leave. Now, Carrie, mind you, she just escaped death. This heifer wants to be in the middle of all this. I was like, listen, you're alive, go on. But no, she wants to be on the middle of this. And Max is just like, you either leave or I'm going to make you leave. So Mike breaks some of the bones in the doctor's hand. Basically gets the doctor to talk about a woman in the FBI that Joe knows, but he doesn't know the woman's name. There's a party, and I'm like, party. It's like red party, hey. Mike is there giving these young people wafers and wine. I guess it's supposed to be like the whole Catholic communion thing of the blood of Christ and the body of Christ. Joe's kind of confused, but he goes with it. Ryan gets Carrie to, fall back on her whole story about what's going on, and she thanks him for saving her life, but she's not going to let go because she thinks there's a bigger story. But what this hitchhiker does not know is that once Joe begins his crazy, he may send some of his extra crazy followers from Fargo, Minnesota or something, because he has followers everywhere, as I've said before, everywhere, and come after her. So Franklin brought in the CIA. This is what Mike tells him. Ryan basically said he doesn't want Mike to become him, but Mike is just down for it. He's like, I'm just going to help out regardless. Apparently, Eric drank some of that communion wine, and he's dancing with Mandy. He falls over. He's foaming at the mouth. Apparently, all those people are all poisoned and convulsing, and I'm like, what the hell? And then the only thing Micah can say is send home shouts of praise. Mandy's freaking out. Joe is just sitting up there smiling and clapping his hands. And Emma joins in, and I'm like, why are they joining in? Then I thought about it. I said they're playing along so they could take over. So Micah had Julia taken away because Julia comes over. What happened? Why did you do this? What is going on? He's like, take her away. Take this heifer away. There's something going on between Mike and Max. Something loving, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So Emma says to Joe, Micah has Julia locked up. Joe basically worked his magic, is what Emma says. Mandy's crying over her little crush. Carrie tells Ryan that he is a drunk at the end and needs help. And Joe says he needs to tell the world that he is alive. So yes, people, Mr. Joe Carroll is alive, people. Yes! And he is bringing back his crazies from season 1, and they're going to be even worse than what it was in season 1. This is like straight guerrilla warfare. So guys, I'm here for it. I can't wait till next week because it's going to be crazy. So what do I think of this episode? This episode was awesome. Crazier than last week with Emma getting her wrist cut. And I'm glad Emma's alive. And I knew Joe was going to find that loophole and slip right on in. And he did. So guys, thank you for tuning in to this review. I'm Sage Valentine, aka Etherblade. Check me out at Sage Valentine on Twitter.com. Check out my blogs. I hope you can handle it on Blogger, and this is the truth is on WordPress. So, comments, questions. If you have any predictions about this season, leave it. And if you'd like to subscribe to my brand of crazy on this channel, definitely do. I would love to have new subscribers. I love all my subscribers, all 11 of you guys, and thanks for tuning in. This is Sage Valentine. Bye, guys. Mwah.